Rob, what is our third main topic today?
John, our third main topic comes to us from Paddy. Greetings and salutations. The last few weekends at the box office have been better than they've been in years. You mentioned that the other week was the first time in forever that 3 movies made over $40 million. Well, this weekend, 4 movies all made over $20 million, which I also can't remember the last time that happened. Is it safe to say that the movie theaters are back now?
To quote a little bit of Mark Twain, reports of the demise of movie theaters has been greatly exaggerated. You know, people have said for years and years and years and years and years and years, movie theaters are done. When VHS came out, movie theaters are done. When streaming service started, movie theaters are done. When COVID happened, people said movie theaters are done. And hey, listen, at that point, it may have looked like maybe it really was at that point. But movie theaters have come roaring back. Yes, we have had a couple of flashes in the dark, right? Like we had Spider-Man No Way Home, one of the biggest movie box office successes of all time, but it was alone. It wasn't surrounded by other things also doing relatively well, right? So we would have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. First movie, comic book movie ever to make over $900 million, but below $1 billion, that $950 million mark. I mean, great, but not surrounded by a lot of other success. But we started to see more success come. And like you said, a couple weeks ago, we had for the first time in a long time, pandemic era or otherwise, where 3 films made over $40 million at the box office. This week, 4 films made over 20, and Lightyear was only $2.4 million away from making that 5 films making over $20 million. And here's the key thing. It's a wide different group of films.
Oh, yeah.
You have Jurassic World, you have Elvis, you have Top Gun, and you have a little horror film that I think is wonderful. Guys, Black Phone, go see it. That did better at the box office than I thought it would.
People dig it too.
And people really like it. It's a lot of fun. So these are all great signs because it's one thing, hey, Rob, if there were 3 MCU and DC movies out right now, oh, okay, then all 3 of them made over $40 million. But it's not that.
No.
None of them are comic book movies. And to see that the audiences for the different demographics are now all coming back out to the theater. Of course, Top Gun was big with that. It was the first movie that really brought back the over 40 crowd to come back to the theaters. Now we're seeing horror doing pretty well. I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which to me is still the best movie of the year, has become the #1 box office movie in A24's history already. Really good things are happening. So, yeah, and this all bodes very well if you're Kevin Feige and you're waiting for Thor to open up, because this will probably be another billion-dollar film. All that looks great. So the question is, why is it recovering? I think there's still a couple things. One, let me refer back to the Paramount Plus TV series, The Offer. Rob, there are 2. If you guys haven't seen The Offer, by the way, watch The fucking Offer. It is great television. You don't even have to be a huge Godfather fan, but unless we're all Godfather fans. But I mean, it's incredible. But I remember I was watching one of the early episodes, and Miles Teller is sitting in a movie theater with his girlfriend.
Francoise.
That's right. And the movie ends, and he doesn't leave. He doesn't leave.
And you know what the movie is?
I can't remember.
Planet of the Apes.
That's right. It was Planet of the Apes. And he doesn't leave the theater. And when it's done and the credits are done rolling and they're the last 2 in there, you know, he goes into the speech about, this is what I want to do. He goes, I just sat in this room with all these strangers and we all laughed together and we all gasped together. We all felt together. And then he told this story about how my mom, she was a single mom. We had all these problems and whatever. And the only time I ever saw my mom cry was in the movie theater, because that's what movies do. And then a little bit later in the film, the head of Paramount, I forget the guy's name, who's the head of Paramount.
Robert Evans.
Bob Evans. Bubby. He gives this big speech to the shareholder, to the board, about what movies do, what movies deliver. And I believe there's a lot of truth in that. I mean, I've espoused that stuff for years, why I think going to the movies is the greatest thing in the world. But then there's a couple of other reasons, some practical ones. In as much as sometimes we'll complain about ticket prices and complain about concession stands, Chris Rock, I remember a couple of years ago, made a great observation about the comeback of movie theaters. When COVID was at its worst, Chris Rock said, movie theaters ain't going anywhere. If for no other reason than this, it is still the most economical, best night out. It is still, economically speaking, the cheapest, most cost-efficient date night you can possibly have. And it's great date night. By the way, listen to my speech about why movies are the best first date. I've gone into that a lot. Listen to John Campea, love doctor here. So between the experiences they deliver, between the fact that, despite the fact that we do complain about the cost of it, it is the cheapest night out that you can do. And combine that with the fact that we have not mentally recovered from the pandemic yet. We just haven't. And I think there's still something, I am still overwhelmed. I was at VidCon the other day, and I did not take for granted the fact that I'm in a convention center with thousands of other people. I haven't been able to do that a lot in the last 3 years, you know? And I think there's still something magical about it. I think we've recaptured that appreciation of being able to go out, get together with people, and have an experience together. Mm-hmm. And so I think when you look at it, that to me is why the movie theaters are coming roaring back again. Now listen, the jury's still out long term. It definitely is. I mean, streaming is a new reality, all that kind of stuff. But that's why I think the movie theaters are making this big comeback, why we're seeing more success for a wider, different variety of films. Guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. You know, the one with the delightful ads with good Canadian kid Ryan Reynolds. So look, after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't a catch. And guys, that's no joke, because for years I've been using one of the major providers and it was fine. But I switched over to Mint Mobile a little while ago. The service has been fantastic. And the big difference is I'm now paying about 1/3 of what I was paying before. And the best part for anybody who just hates their phone bills is that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And here, Rob, you take a look at this situation. What really speaks to you about like big signs that the movie theaters are back, and why do you think they're coming back the way they are?
Well, I think, you know, movie theaters are only as good as what they're showing. And I think what we're getting from Hollywood now, and you just pointed it out, this weekend pointed it out, there is a diversity of material in theaters right now that attract. You've got a biopic about Elvis Presley. Now think about it. The demographic, Elvis Presley's been an American mainstay since the 50s. So there's a movie that has an audience of many different generations. You've got Top Gun Maverick, which also appeals to the older demographic, getting people to come to movies that haven't seen. And now you're in its, what, 4th week, 5th week for Maverick? The audiences that would never go to the movies, that have heard how good it is, you know, the people in our age or whatever, older, even my mom's like, should I go see that Top Gun Maverick? I mean, my mom would never say that. She might go. And then you've got, obviously, Jurassic World Dominion, which you've got the kids, let's go see the dinosaurs, Mom. Okay. 750 million already. I mean, that's another great big franchise property. So there is a diversity of subject matter and kinds of movies. And then, of course, Lightyear in the theaters now, which we haven't seen a lot lately. I mean, there's this thought that, well, you know, franchise pictures are dominating everything. Are they? I mean, no. Good movies are dominating things. Everything Everywhere All at Once, A24's biggest grosser. That was a movie, you know,
which, by the way, had no business making anything more than $5 million.
No, but you know,
no business making more than $5 million.
But it was the movie itself. Yep. I have never, between Top Gun Maverick, and Everything Everywhere All at Once, these two movies were the most word of mouth movies I've heard of in years.
Yeah.
More people were talking about those movies. How much do we talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once on this show?
A lot. A disproportionate
and people,
amount.
we're still talking about it. You know, now it's on streaming. You can see it. It's amazing, though, that when movies capture imagination and joy with people, they go out and see them. And I think people want new, interesting stories that aren't rehashes. I mean, look, I love the MCU, dude, but Wakanda Forever is going to be the 30th MCU movie in 14 years. And it's like, as much as I love those movies, 30 of those, you know, wouldn't it be nice to have had 25 of them and then maybe 5 original films that you'd never heard of before? I mean, I know we have to make money, but I'm just saying that the diversity of the kinds of stories being told, and they have to be good.
Yeah.
They have to be good. It can't just be anything. And we've got in Everything Everywhere, in Elvis, in Top Gun. I mean, Tom Cruise said, I'm not going to just tell this movie until it's ready to be told. Yeah. He waited until he had good collaborators and made the movie he thought was worth making.
And fought against some of the executives that wanted to dump it on Paramount Plus instead of in theaters. And they're like, nope. And how brilliant does he look right now?
Oh, my God. And I'll tell you something. I think no one's talking about this, but I think one of the executives, Jim Giannopoulos, who was running Paramount for a while, you know, during the pandemic, I believe he was the person that like greenlit this movie. He had faith that, we're going to go make this. And he's no longer at Paramount. So, Jim, if you're out there.
Vindication.
Yeah, man.
Sweet vindication. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? The box office is now showing greater growth and stability than it has in a long time. What do you attribute that to? Why do you think the box office and movie theaters are making this big comeback? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and leave us your thoughts.